The Witches of Black Hollow. In the forgotten folds of a crumbling map, nestled between claw-like trees and an ever-churning marsh, lies Black Hollow, a village lost to time, whispered about only in hushed tones and drunken ramblings. No roads lead to it, no signs point the way. And for good reason. Black Hollow was once a prosperous town, a hidden sanctuary surrounded by thick woodlands, its people content and industrious. That was before they came. Three women, veiled in black, appeared one fog-cloaked morning in the autumn of 1789. No one saw from where they came. No carriage, no horses, just the three of them, standing barefoot in the square at dawn, staring silently at the chapel bell as it tolled. The villagers, wary but not yet afraid, offered them food, clothes, and a place to rest. The sisters accepted without a word. They moved into the old crumbling mill on the hill, a place long abandoned and thought to be cursed. But within days, lights flickered in its windows at night. Strange symbols began to appear on the bark of trees, and animals, black birds, foxes, snakes, gathered near the gates. The youngest of the sisters, called Elsha by those brave enough to ask, was pale and eerily beautiful, with a voice like wind rustling through dead leaves. The middle sister, Mora, rarely spoke and never blinked, her eyes a glassy shade of blue that reflected the moon. The oldest they called Mother Crane, not because she gave her name, but because her neck was long, her limbs rigid, and she walked with an unnatural grace. Her voice was never heard in the village, but people swore they heard whispers in their sleep after seeing her. At first, there were small blessings. Sick cattle were healed. A child who had been mute began to speak again. The village well, which had run dry the previous summer, filled once more with cold, clean water. But blessings always come at a price. It started with the dreams of drowning in blood, of hands reaching from beneath the soil, of eyes blinking in the walls. Then the missing time. Villagers would wake up in the woods with no memory of how they got there. Children would stand silently at the edge of the forest, eyes wide, mouths moving, but no words coming out. Then came the night of the harvest moon. On that night, a scream pierced the air just past midnight. The blacksmith's wife, Clara, was found at the chapel steps, her hair turned white, her hands covered in ash, murmuring the same word over and over: burn. They tried to ask her what happened. She would only stare beyond them, as though seeing something far away, something they couldn't. She died 2 nights later. Her skin turned brittle, and she collapsed into a pile of soot, as though fire had touched her from within. The villagers gathered in secret and decided it had gone too far. They stormed the old mill with torches and iron. But the sisters were ready. The moment the villagers crossed the threshold, the flames of their torches blew out in an unnatural wind. The doors shut behind them on their own. Inside, the walls were covered in living vines, pulsing with dark energy. Candles floated in the air, each flame burning black. There were bones on the floor, some animal, some unmistakably human. Mora appeared first. She moved like smoke, sliding from the shadows, her dress trailing behind her like oil in water. She spoke a single word: leave. The villagers turned to run, but the doors would not open. Elsha emerged next, eyes glowing faintly. Her lips moved in some chant they could not understand. Then came the sound of footsteps, long, slow, deliberate. Mother Crane descended from the upper floor. She did not speak, she only looked. And with that look, half the villagers dropped to the floor, unmoving. The rest fell to their knees, hands covering their ears, as a high-pitched shrieking filled the air, a sound no human throat could make. Only one man escaped. Jonathan Grieve, a farmer's son, fled into the woods, bleeding from his ears and speaking in tongues. He was found weeks later in a neighboring town, ranting about the crow's bride and the eyes beneath the floorboards. His tale spread like rot, passed from village to village, twisted and embellished, but all retained the warning: never go to Black Hollow, never seek the witches. After that night, Black Hollow was abandoned. The trees grew thicker, the roadways overgrown. The village fell from maps and memory. No one returned. But the mill remained, and the sisters lingered. Centuries later, in our time, a group of amateur paranormal vloggers discovered a mention of Black Hollow in a digitized manuscript of colonial legends. Intrigued by the mystery and eager for viral fame, they gathered equipment and set out to find it. They hiked deep into the woods, beyond where trails gave way to brambles and mist. After 2 days, they found it, Black Hollow, silent and preserved like an insect in amber. Time had not touched it. Houses stood still, though vines wrapped their frames like skeletal fingers. The chapel bell still hung, and on the hill the mill remained, its windows dark, its door cracked open. They laughed nervously at the eeriness, filming their reactions, narrating their every move. One of them, Sasha, swore she saw movement in the upstairs window. They joked it was just shadows. The air grew cold, and the forest fell silent. No birds, no wind, nothing but the hum of their equipment. They entered the mill just after sunset. Inside, dust lay thick, but no cobwebs. Symbols carved into wood pulsed faintly in the dark. candles flickered to life on their own. The air was thick with a smell like burnt flowers and old blood. Then the door slammed shut behind them. Their cameras glitched. The shadows shifted. From the upper stairwell, a figure descended. Long limbs, pale skin, a neck that moved like it didn't belong to a human skeleton. Mother Crane. She looked at them without eyes, only hollows that drew in light. Elsha's voice sang from the walls, soft and lilting. Mora whispered in their ears. The vloggers screamed, bolting for the door, which now melted into the wall like wax. One by one they were separated, their screams echoing, then vanishing. Only the camera survived. Weeks later, the footage was found, the only clue to what had happened. The video ends with a single frame, Mother Crane staring directly into the lens, a faint smile curling across her cracked lips. They say the witches of Black Hollow never truly died. They are timeless, rooted into the bones of the land like rot in old wood. Their power is bound, not by fire, not by silver or salt, but by fear. The more they are remembered, the stronger they become. So if you hear a song in the woods at night, don't follow it. If you dream of crows weeping blood or hands tapping on your window in the dark, do not answer. And if you ever find a path that shouldn't exist on any map, leading deep into a place the world forgot, turn back. Black Hollow still waits. The witches are watching, and they are so very hungry.